The Manitoba Theatre for Young People has announced their 2025-26 season, and just like this past year's season, their lineup of plays and performers promises to be as engaging and entertaining as ever for both children and parents. From imaginary worlds to Greek gods to the chill of a winter deep freeze to a puppet show and dancing, there is something for everyone. This is an amazing 2025-26 season lineup. And joining me here in the Classic 107 studio to talk about MTYP's upcoming season, I am joined once again by my good friend, Sarah Flynn, Artistic Associate for MTYP. Hey, Sarah, great to have you back.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So, firstly, one of the things I noticed when I started looking at the season was there's a new studio at MTYP, the Richardson Studio Theatre. I've done gigs at MTYP. I know the main stage, but where is the Richardson Studio Theatre, and can you sort of describe it?
So the Richardson Studio Theatre is going to be where the Richardson Rehearsal Hall was before. So mostly it's been, it's a space that's just off to the side of the lobby, and it's been used for rehearsals. They've set up temporary theaters, that kind of thing in that space since the building opened. But through part of our capital campaign and the money that we've raised, we've been able to convert it completely to a 100-seat black box theater. So it can be reconfigured just in the same way our main stage is. It can be in the round, it can be in thrust, it can be in any of those kinds of configurations, but it's a smaller seat capacity size. So it works for those more intimate productions, those specialty things that are going to work for a smaller audience or for different specific groups of people.
Right. That sounds great.
It really opens up what we can do.
Absolutely. Gives you more options. The season looks fantastic. Can you talk about how long this season has been in the making? When did you and the team at MTYP start building it?
I mean, different parts come into place at different times. I mean, the first show that's in our season, Gather, I read that script when I started at MTYP 2.5 years ago and was like, we need to do this show. And I made Pablo read it, and Pablo was like, we need to do this show. But we wanted it to open the Richardson Studio Theatre. And so when that wasn't happening right away, it kind of got pushed. And then, there's other shows that we didn't have set in stone until early in the new year. And so different parts sort of come together slowly. A lot of the work happens in the fall, this past fall, we did a lot of it. But yeah, by the time it actually comes together, it takes basically a year.
Better part. I want to get to the season. The first play is called Gather. It runs from October 3rd to October the 26th. It is something about that us Winnipeggers know a lot about, staying inside during a cold snap and being stuck inside. There are two friends who are exploring their town. How do they interact with the characters who are stuck inside and who have seemingly lost interest in what they're passionate about?
Yeah, so essentially these two friends get separated by this snowstorm, and it's weeks-long snowstorm, and nobody can leave their house, nobody can do the things that they love to do anymore. And the town is this, the audience of that day. So the 100 people in the Richardson studio on that day will be the members of the town. And so various people become various roles within it. Someone's the mail carrier, someone's the librarian, somebody's the weatherman. So they all create this story together with the audience playing various roles, and then the storytellers leading them through this experience that the town went through.
Sounds great. The playwrights of Gather are Juliet Lederer, who is from Toronto, and Julie Ritchie, who's from Chicago. I was reading their bios. Wit, whimsy, and creativity are some things that really came across. Have you met them, and can you talk about the playwrights, Julia and Julie?
I've only met them on Zoom, so we had a really great chat with them, a couple chats actually over the course of the last couple of years about the play and about the way they work together to create it. And it's the relationship they have is just so beautiful and sweet, and they started writing this prior to the pandemic and then produced it during the pandemic, and it has so many themes that are connected to that, like isolation and loneliness and losing these people in your life, that it feels like it's a pandemic play, but it's not. It's from before that. It's just these themes that really came about more profoundly for everyone during the pandemic, and so they've really created this magical piece to allow us to connect with that time period. Yeah.
Just being stuck inside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Gather, and that's running again from October 6th to October the 26th. Next, you have The Mush Hole running from November 1st to November 9th. This one is for ages 13 and up. It seems deeply educational. You know me, I'm all about education and things.
Yes.
It deals with the residential school system through song, dance, and theater. Can you talk about that one?
Yeah, so the Mush Hole, we actually had it 5 years ago, and then this year is the 20th anniversary of Kahiwi Dance Theatre, and they were like, we're bringing it back, do you want it? And we were 100% like, yes, please, we need this show, because it really tells this story and these experiences of, you know, not just the kids that were at the Mohawk Institute, but as well as their families and their parents, and that relationship that is changed due to the time that these kids spent at the school. And it's absolutely stunning. Like, it is just a beautiful piece of dance theater, and it really allows you to connect with those themes without it being quite as like you're being told how to feel. It just makes you have all those feelings that, you know, you should have, and teaches you sort of about what happened in that space. And
I should say, from what I gather, the Mush Hole title comes from the food that they were served.
Yeah, so it's named after, you know, I think a lot of the students or kids that were sent there, they ended up calling the Mohawk Institute the Mush Hole, and it's because of all the mush they were fed.
Can you talk about Kahiwi Dance Theatre? Where are they from? And how did MTYP first hear about the show back in the day?
Oh, I mean, I think Pablo has a long relationship with Santi Smith, who's the artistic director, as well as just an incredible human and dancer. And so when, you know, they've created many pieces, a lot of them are for, you know, various age ranges, but a lot of them are for adults. So this piece specifically is for teens. It's you know, we always like to program stuff that's actually for teens, not just could work for them. This piece is created as a way to connect teens to the stories that these young people experienced. So yeah, this is their 20th anniversary of creating work and dance. And I think they're technically based in Toronto, but most of their work outside of Toronto in various places, depending on the show and the group of people.
That they've got.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, the play is created by Santi Smith. I read her biography. She is an incredible person.
So cool.
She's a chancellor at McMaster University. She's got a background in dance. She attended Canada's National Ballet School, and there's everything that goes along with that. And she's also a member of the Mohawk Nation. Have you met her? And if so, what has she said about
I haven't met her. So because we had it 5 years ago, there wasn't as many discussions about bringing it back. We didn't need to watch it and figure out what it is and get to know the company. We already know them. I mean, I wasn't there or here at MTYP 5 years ago. I saw the show as a random person from the public, but I didn't, I wasn't a part of putting it on last time we had it. So this time we didn't really have to even talk that much. We were just like, yep, we want it. Here you go. We're going to make it happen. So I'm excited to get to meet Santi when she comes with the company in the fall.
It sounds like it's an absolutely fascinating show. So that's Mush Hole, and that runs from November 1st to November the 9th. Then you've got The Lightning Thief running from December 5th to the 28th, written by, help me out here, Joe Trash, and music by Rob Rikicki. Is that right?
I think so. I don't know them, but yes.
There is a lot going on in this play. The main character, Percy, finds out that he's the son of a Greek god. Then he and his friends go on a quest to find Zeus's missing lightning bolt in the hopes of preventing war. How much of the play is imagination-based and how much is myth and is meant to be believed by the audience?
Do you know the books, the Percy Jackson and the Olympian books? So it's this incredible book series by Rick Riordan that I read as a kid and a teen, and I absolutely loved. And so it takes these real mythological characters, but then puts them into present day. So Ares, the god of war, is like a biker dude, and he's always like angry, and he's got his leather jacket on, and he rides his motorcycle. And and Poseidon, the god of the sea, is like a surfer dude. And he's got his long, salty hair, and he's always got a Hawaiian shirt on. And so they've created these like present day versions of these Greek historical characters or mythological characters. So it really weaves those together where you have, Percy and his friends Annabeth and Grover, the satyr, and like those are made up characters, but then they're related to these myths that have existed for, centuries, as well as like the story of Medusa is there, but it's Auntie M. She runs a garden gnome emporium essentially. And so it's got a really beautiful mix of like, it's taken these characters that existed so many centuries ago and brought them into the present day in a really fun and exciting way. So, yeah.
I read the synopsis, I was like, holy moly, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
And then I went on further to read, it was done on Broadway. Like it's a musical. Have you heard the music? It must be amazing. And has the production been adapted for children, or is it as it was on Broadway?
So there's a slightly different version that is for, theater for young audiences that we'll be putting on. So the full version is like pretty long. It's a big, long musical. And we're doing the TYA edition. So it's like a 75, 80-minute show. And it sort of takes out some parts and then speeds through other parts and keeps the story the same, but it just sort of fits it all in faster, harder, and more intense. But it's also just like, the music's amazing. There's like this one song that goes through this whole adventure from, they're in, I think like upstate New York or something, and they go all the way to LA, and it's one song. And you get through all of these things that happen to them, all of these fights with chimeras and with furies and all this stuff. And you're just like, wow, it's this tornado of a song. It's amazing.
It's going to be great. Okay, so that's The Lightning Thief, and it runs from December 5 to the 28th. Then you have Tad and Birdie, which runs from January 30th to February the 8th, 2026. This one reminds me a lot of A Year with Frog and Toad that MTYP did this past season. From what I gather, it's very much about friendship and accepting your friend for all his foibles. Can you talk about the limitations that are placed on the two characters, both real and perceived?
So, yeah, I guess Tad and Birdie does have some connections to Frog and Toad in that friendship world that they live in. And I mean, they're both the tadpole and the frog. They're both from the pond. But yeah, so Tad and Birdie end up both in a little boy's bedroom. And Birdie's been there for a long time, and Tad is new. And Tad sort of changes the world that they're in. And they create this friendship. I think it's a little one-sided at first. Birdie's a little bit distant and doesn't want that connection. But Tad slowly picks away at them, and then they create this beautiful relationship. And yeah, so Tad wants to explore the world and is naive and interested in everything that could exist. And Birdie has had some stuff happen in the past that's made them a bit scared and a bit afraid of the world and thinking of this boy's bedroom as a safe place to be. And so then those two desires of wanting to stay and wanting to go kind of conflict, and they find a way to bring about what they both need. And it's so beautiful.
And it's written by playwright Annika Dowsett. She's an instructor and teaching assistant at MTYP. What are they like, and what have they said about the play?
Yeah, so Annika works at MTYP in various roles, as well as part of the Sandbox, which is our Young Creators Unit. And Tad and Birdie actually came out of an exercise that we did, 2 years ago or something in that Sandbox. And they're a good friend of mine, and I really love their work. They're so smart, and they find beautiful ways to put these characters in these interesting environments. And there's a quote from the play at one point that's actually a quote from something a kid said to them in the class they were teaching, and so they've really found a beautiful way to have that childlike wonder and childlike desire to fit in within these characters that they know so much about working with kids because that's what they do all the time. Yeah.
So that's Tad and Birdie, and that runs again from January 30th to February the 8th, 2026. Then MTYP welcomes back Brush Theatre for Doodle Pop, and that runs from February 27th to March 8th. Brush Theater are from Korea. They use live music, animation, markers to create these really wonderful, fantastical worlds. Why does MTYP love having the company keep coming back?
Because they're so fun. They are so fun, and it's such beautiful work that you can't help but be just engulfed in this world that they create. You know, they have the music happening live on stage. They have the set that is set up, but then they also draw on the set. So everything is happening in front of your eyes, and you get to, you know, the worlds of imagination that they're able to create are like no other.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Who are Boogie and Woogie? And can you talk about the adventure that they go on in Doodle Bop?
Yeah, so Boogie and Woogie are, you know, these two main characters, and they're the ones creating this story, and they draw this story. And I know that it goes to the sea, and they meet turtles, and they you know, they're on a boat, and they go all over the place. And so it allows you to go on this crazy adventure with them, and they kind of like are trying to teach you how to unlock your creativity. And they tell kids at the end, like, go draw on the walls, which is maybe not ideal, but like it's about just discovering everything that you can create in your own mind, and that you could go on these adventures as well. Like it sort of connects with them in that way, that it's not that far away, that you could be these kids.
Yeah, just use your imagination.
Yeah, and do so much.
Yeah, and for our Classic 107 listeners, if any of you saw Polypop that was done at MTYP, it's the same company.
Same group, same amazing group of humans.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Doodle Pop, and that's running from February 27th to March 8th. Then you have Glitch, which runs from April the 10th to the 19th, 2026. First of all, from what I gather, the company that's presenting it, Bouge de la, they're a professional dance company.
Yeah.
Who are they? And I'm presuming that there's going to be dance throughout the show, right?
Yes. So Bouge de la is a company from Quebec that does dance theater for young audiences. So, you know, there's a fine line where dance becomes theater and theater becomes dance. And they really, I guess, dance along that line in a beautiful way where, you know, as much as it's dance, they're also creating a show and like these characters that experience these things, that learn and grow and change throughout the piece, which kind of allows it to be theater. So they've been doing this kind of work forever, and, you know, we've seen lots of their work, and we're finally able to bring them here with this piece. So these four young people find this like basement of a theater, and it's full of these boxes of all these things that they are going to discover. And then there's this like laser beam that starts guiding them through the space and showing them different pieces. And they you know, will pick something up and figure out how it goes on them or affects them. And then they'll, you know, dance about it essentially. Yeah. And it's, you know, and they create all these worlds and all these storylines and, you know, competitions and games and whatnot within each other and through the things that they find.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really cool.
So have you thought about what that's going to look like from a stage standpoint? Like, how is that going to work?
Yeah, so unfortunately, like, I've only seen the video of it, and so I'm really excited to be in the space and have all of the lights happening and the lasers and the smoke and the movement and all of that happening in a bigger space, and with the music actually coming through my ears and through my body, and having them show us all that world in front of us on stage. I think it's going to be really cool when you're in the theater and you get to like experience it with them.
And from what I gather, Bouge de la, this is their specialty, is dance and theater for kids as well.
Yeah,
right?
It's what they do, and they're very good at it.
So that's Glitch, and it's running from April 10 to the 19th. The last play of MTYP season is Otasan.
Yeah,
is that right? Running from April 24th to May 17, 2026. It's presented by Little Onion Puppet Company. Now, when I read this, I had flashbacks to The Muppets. What can I say? I'm a child of The Muppet Show and Sesame Street. How are puppets used in the play to tell the story? And can you talk about the significance of the wildlife footage that's going to be shown?
Yeah, so Otasan is this beautiful story about this young girl named Shiz and her relationship with her father. So her father is a wildlife videographer, and so he goes off on all these incredible adventures to, you know, take videos of owls and animals and stuff in the Arctic and elsewhere. And so, you know, Shiz wants to connect with her father, so she hides in his suitcase and pops out in the wilderness of the Arctic with him and is like, I'm here, Dad.
Surprise.
And he is not thrilled about that for obvious reasons. But they end up, going through this experience that he was going to be there and, taking his videos and doing his things. And now suddenly Shiz is there too. And he really Shiz is able to open his eyes to a new version of this Arctic and this world that he's so used to. So the creators, Shiz, her father is a wildlife videographer. So there's real video from his work in this piece projected on that is, Shiz in the play, experiencing it and seeing it, and then, being a part of taking it and doing all this stuff. And so this, it's all told through these puppets because they go on this, wild adventure, right? And it's, tabletop puppetry, which allows it to be so intimate that it feels like you could do that at home yourself. You could tell that story with your dolls because they are the same size. It makes it so easy to connect to.
Yeah, and it's, from what I understand, Shizuka Kai, the creator, she said it's not only about father-daughter, it's about anybody you love. Anybody,
it could be anybody. And anyone that you're maybe struggling to connect with, or, when you can find those connections, those similarities in the work that you already do or in your hobbies, and you can do them together, and it actually makes them more wonderful and more beautiful.
And more precious.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, the 2025-26 season at Manitoba Theatre for Young People sounds like another extraordinary lineup full of entertaining, thought-provoking, and engaging productions for young audiences. I have no doubt it's going to be another big success. Thanks so much for taking the time to stop by and talk through the season with me.
Anytime.